My name is Rosa Armendáriz, and I'm currently in the interim dean for equity and inclusion role at LMC. I met LMC through work that I was doing in the community around 2005. I was working with the Parent Institute for Quality Education, doing parent education program, and I met some of the leadership from LMC, and they had just received a Hispanic Serving Institutions grant, and then before you knew it, I had applied for a position.
So I'm an immigrant from Peru, and I started working in education when I was in college. Dean Benford had called me and offered me a adjunct position, and I was super happy to be a new counselor. And I was welcomed by the counseling department. I was really impressed because I had done internships at other colleges, and I was really impressed by LMC and how they took care of me and really spent like all summer training me and making sure that I was prepared. There was no judgment for not knowing what I didn't know as a new counselor, right, after graduating. It was a great honor. I did not expect that at all. Um, I had helped MC the event last year,
Okay.
and it was also my first year being part of Puente. Like I'm always learning new things because I've only been here 6 years and 2 years in this role. Hopefully, it's inspiring to other community members who want to be involved and want to create community. What matters is like the heart, right? And that love that you put into your work. And um, that's how hopefully it becomes a contagious thing and everyone just wants to
It
collaborate.
really recognizes the legacy of Cesar Chavez as a movement. And I think we recognize the role that Cesar Chavez had in California and nationally, especially for farm working communities. And we want to honor him. And we also want to remind our communities that the legacy of his work includes a lot of unsung heroes, as we've noted before, and it includes work that continues. It's not about what happened in 1968. It's not just about a grape boycott. It's not just about a lettuce boycott. Those are monumental things that happen for our community, but the struggle continues around social justice, environmental justice, labor rights, education. LMC hosted its first multicultural festival that was a collaboration between the honors program, Puente, Umoja, the CAPA Club, the Office of Equity and Inclusion, Student Life, like a whole bunch of different areas. I probably missed a few, Jessica, in that. But we had about 600 people last night in our student union with students, their families, faculty, employees from across the campus, and performers from the local community of different ethnic groups and cultural experiences. So there were dancers, singers, and local food vendors from all across the area also. And it was probably the best event we have had all year. It was the highlight, the culmination, I think, of all the work we've done this school year, and really focusing on engaging people in community. Because if you don't feel like you're in community, you're not going to focus on your education. You're not going to have the passion and the energy to keep going.
The only day that I really had available was like evenings and Sundays. So I started volunteering that time, and that really helped me understand and ground myself in terms of like what families are really experiencing in terms of accessing education, right? I think that those are the moments that really inspire me and inspire me to continue to advocate, right? Because sometimes in our field we forget that these are real people with real stories and real challenges, and they're systemic. I think that my work outside in the community, it's what informs me, and then I bring it back,
I grew
right?
up in a very humble family. And so my success through education comes with a lot of responsibility. I don't take that for granted. So what I do is to open the doors for more people. It's not about having equity in your title. We all should be doing this work. And it's a practice. There isn't a formula for it. It's a practice and it's a way of being. The 4 Agreements is a book I always give teams when I do retreats. And it's just such a wise book. I recommend everyone read it. And the 4 Agreements are: be impeccable with your word. Don't take anything personally. Don't make assumptions, and always do your best. I think those are probably similar 4 things that we've heard throughout our life in different ways, and probably from our families, right? But they are they're such good foundations for how we do our work as equity practitioners.
Speaking up is important, right? Especially if you are someone that has direct access to a community group or students, right? Even in your classroom, doesn't matter what subject you're teaching. But I think that building those relationships is the most important thing that will lead into leadership. And if you think of ideas of how to make these happen, like speak up, right? Talk to other people about it, right? Start sharing, like, hey, this group that I work with, they really want to do this, or there's this really big need, and I think that sometimes they can feel like you're the only one that wants to do that, and that's not necessarily true.
One of them is Peter Garcia, who was the president at Los Medanos when I started there, then the president at DBC when I transitioned over there, and he's now still in the community, retired. But he was somebody who I think set a very high bar for excellence and what we should be doing as a community college system. And for LMC, he inspired the work around HSI that we were doing, definitely mentored me into what it meant to work in a community college.
Like I mentioned earlier, the counseling department for me, and they have really helped me grow as a counselor. Liz Constanza was someone that trained me and has always been there available to answer questions and just really reassure me in what I have been doing. And so I really appreciate her. In my Puente community too, in terms of like students, I'm just so proud of them. And I think that working on changing the narrative of students who are, immigrants and bilingual, and, all of these things that sometimes traditionally have been viewed as, um, like lacking something. I think changing that narrative to these are all strengths, right? You're multicultural, you are bilingual, and you bring something to this campus.
So we need to continue to reinvent ourselves as leaders, to honor the legacy that past leaders have left, and to continue and hopefully leave a mark in our community. I'm also convinced that we're never going to finish all these issues in our lifetime individually, but I hope I leave a little seed that made a difference.